everyone. My name is Allison Stroshine, the storyteller behind Shanti Pox. I'm super excited today to welcome Gary Malkin. Gary is an award-winning composer, producer, and public speaker with 35 years of experience. His list of accomplishments are very long, but some of them include winning several Emmy Awards, co-creating the internationally acclaimed CD Graceful Passages, and creating the spoken word and music montage for the short film Gratitude, which is currently the most popular TEDx talk in history. Welcome, Gary. Thank you so much for making the time.
I'm loving being here. Thank you, Allison, for having me.
Okay, so you had a very successful career in Hollywood, composing music for television and film, but decided to leave that behind to venture into the world of music and sound for healing. Can you tell us why you did that?
Well, first of all, I did leave it, but I haven't left it behind forever because I believe there's a convergence of confirmation, of transformation, healing, and media right now. So I'm actually re-entering, testing the waters to see if they're ready for me. But I did leave it for a while because I got so overdosed on creating music to feed the gross national product, creating music for documentaries that propagated a lot of fear, or television shows. And what happened was I had started the project. Did you ask me how and why I left from Hollywood? So I started a project that was about supporting people through loss, metaphorically and literally, because I had a horrible accident. Right after I'd started this project that was really designed to help people deal with loss and death and dying, I was intrigued because I hadn't, you live long enough and losses happen. And many of us, there's the world out there, and then there's the world of loss and illness. And nobody likes to mix the two. It's kind of a shadowy world that nobody wants to talk about, but it's the human condition. So I decided to create something that would support us in staying in our heart and present and connected in service to being there for people who are going through that, if not for yourself. And sure enough, the work was so powerful, I just started doing it. And then I asked the question, I wonder what's going to have to happen in order for this to be an authentic work for people dealing with death, dying, and loss. And sure enough, a month later, had a horrible accident, shattered my wrist in 18 pieces. My wife left me. My family got destroyed. My daughter, thank God, is still alive. But it was I lost everything in 1 month, everything. And I wondered if that was related to the question, like what's going to have to happen. Because what happened was I was given an experience of what death felt like in every other way other than just being really gone. And I was given the weirdest gift to create music that would help me come back to restoring myself to a living, grateful, humble, alive, vibrant human being. And so I spent the next 3 years going around the world recording the voices of amazing beings and asked them if they were going to die tomorrow, what would you say to your loved one? And I edited those messages down with my partner, Michael Stillwater, who co-created the work with me. And we edited that messages down to 5 minutes. And then I scored it to an 80-piece orchestra. And the result is what I call alchemical wisdom. And it's a deep listening modality for our time. And the reason why it's for our time is that we're in a culture right now where we're deifying the rational. And we're using text, and we're overusing our left brain, and we're actually atrophying our right brain, our imaginal minds, our ability to actually dream and vision and be nonlinear. There's an actual medical article talking about digital dementia. And we are living in a culture that is overusing our left minds and not using the moisture of our right imaginal fantasy, imagined musical world. So bottom line is I left Hollywood and just explored this new genre that I was developing called alchemical wisdom, and I've been doing it for more than a decade now.
Wow.
And more importantly, just the final thing of that is this work turned out to be considered by the medical world the most powerful non-pharmacological tool for alleviating fear and anxiety for those facing illness or end of life. So now I'm thinking if you could do that with death and dying, what can you do with like making yourself believe that you have the power to heal yourself? To shift your biochemical experience to believing that anything's possible. that's the next project that I'd like to work on. So I've been exploring all kinds of ways to use this modality in a way that will help people.
That is so exciting. I love thinking. I've never thought about the right left brain thing. I do think all the time about how we over text and we over engage in this social media and everything, but I never thought about it from a cerebral level. That's so interesting.
Yeah, yeah, it is fascinating. And we're at a place right now where the greatest challenge I see is at integrating our heart intelligence, our emotional intelligence, and our access to spiritual awareness in as equal jewels in the crown of the human experience. And right now, the human experience is defined as normal as just talking, right? But when you're with somebody and you're just talking, engaging intellectually, what about the intelligence of the heart? What about the intelligence of the soul? What about the intelligence of the gut brain? There's all these other intelligences, and they speak at different speeds and in different ways. And some of them speak in language, some of them speak in image, some of them speak in sound. And all of them have intrinsic languages that must be honored, included, and learned in order for us to claim our full human experience. Or else the decisions we make for world peace or for peace in our family or peace in our hearts can't be figured out at the mind level. And that's why I believe that music and sound and arts are the new paradigm for integrating and healing the inner peace that is going to only make the peace outside in the world that we're looking for. That's why I really feel like when Gandhi said we must become the change we wish to see in the world, I believe the artist is the dogma free platform. You cannot argue about whether there's a blue music or a red music. You can't argue about whether this is Republican or Democrat or liberal or conservative, right?
Yeah.
We're entering a phase where dogma-free tools,
Ugh.
all hands on deck, right? It's necessary.
Hallelujah. Did you come up with that as equal tools in the crown of the human experience?
Yeah, I did.
That is beautiful. I'd
Equal
write.
jewels. I said equal
You
jewels.
said jewels. I said tools. Sorry. Equal jewels. Sorry. Yes, that was really, really good. I have to. I come up with a list of quotes. I'm going to put that in.
Well, here's another one I've been using that Jeremy Geffen, the famous integrative oncologist in America, said when I gave him Graceful Passages, which, by the way, you have a copy of the music only, but the real original work is a book and CD set with two CDs and it's 80 pages and all that. And I asked him, I said, why would the people in the cancer world want to have a resource that helps you come to peace with dying? Because I thought that you wouldn't want to think about anything about death when you have cancer because that would like create the boogeyman and you're bringing death closer and all these superstitious beliefs. He said no, it's the opposite, because when you can come to peace around your mortality, your immune system is optimally working, and then you're in more of a state that actually is more able to heal because you're not terrified and dealing with all this covert fear in your bloodstream. So he said his quote is, true healing is focused action and intention, which is the medical establishment, right? Focused action and intention, which is all what we know about medical hospital healing and all that, wrapped in the arms of surrender.
Wow.
And then you've got both. You've got the recognition that we are not in control. We do our best with our focus, but we also allow for whatever we can do to drop in and accept the reality of the fact that we're not in control, right? So it has that both end, which I think music really helps you get to. So I'm talking too much. I'm going to shut up now.
Oh no, that's beautiful. I'm just going to repeat it. True healing is focused action and intention wrapped in the arms of surrender.
By Dr. Jeremy Geffen. Yeah, he's the quote on that. And the beautiful thing to have a medical doctor say that is that no matter how much we try to stay alive, death is not a medical failure, right? So you hear the horses in
I
the
do.
background.
That's great.
Yeah, so
They
good.
agree with us. So Shanti Pax's goal is to help people be at peace during their day and add peace to the world. So I was just wondering if you could tell us how transformational media and music can help us be that. Although you've been talking about it, but maybe just expand a little more.
You know, um, one of the great transformations that will make this world a world of peace is if we all start recognizing, Teilhard de Chardin said we are spiritual beings on a human journey, not human on a spiritual journey. And if that's true, then it's really important for us to emphasize and cultivate the art of human being rather than the art of human doing, right? So the act of doing, product, endless stimulation, details, tactical, strategic, we all got that down. But the art of human being involves a way of allowing spirit and heart to enter into the conversation, as I said before. If we're not conscious of the fact that everything we ingest as media, whether it's music, whether it's smartphones, whether it's television, whether it's anything that's multisensory with images and words, it has been proven through neurolinguistic programming and many other scientific evidence that when we look at the multisensory experience alchemically and take in words, scripts, music, pace, editing, it actually has a very powerful effect on our energetics in our body. And in the same way that people thought cigarette smoking was fine, but then they for years defended it, like it was fine. It was even doctors said it was healthy, and they recommended it. The next wave is understanding that media is energy medicine, and it's either good medicine or bad medicine. So to start being aware of the diet that you're ingesting of media is a way of either supporting or undermining your human being capacity, because being involves energetics, right? And media, music, art, dance, story, poetry is art medicine for the heart and soul. So if you're ingesting medicine, quote unquote, media medicine for the mind is what I call it, that will not only reinforce negative or destructive, misogynistic beliefs about women or violent thoughts or anything. It's not just a moment that goes in and then it goes out. It stays in your body as a biochemical correlative experience for hours, if not days. You can't take it out of your system once you've experienced something like that. So my dream is that we develop a culture that understands that the media diet that we experience, and I mean all that I mentioned that under the heading of media diet, is essential to cultivating a peaceful inner ecology in yourself so that then we can become agents of peace in creating a peaceful world. It won't happen unless we understand that media is a medicine that either helps or hurts us. So it's really about raising consciousness to that.
I love thinking of media that way as a diet, is something you ingest. It's really smart. Because I think I know when you have a very stressful day job and you get home, sometimes you just want to turn your mind off and turn on the most mind-numbing thing on television and just shut off.
I do it. Well, I do it all the time. And the way I've gotten to it is that I need immersive experience. In fact, I have a belief that, one of the areas that I really want to work with corporations is to assume that people, when they arrive at a meeting, whether it's virtual or live, is to assume that they're distracted, fragmented, and not present. Because that's the world that it asks us to be distracted, fragmented, and not present, because there's way too much on our plate for everyone in the developed world, right? So what I'm advocating is there are ways to use media, music, media, and spoken word or whatever. I'm designing things for this purpose, that in the first 5 minutes of a gathering, the goal is to get everybody present, not just in their minds, but in their aligned hearts and souls as well. And when you get a group, whether it's 1,000 people or 5 people, and in 5 minutes, you create something in the beginning that brings people into alignment, the results you get in the meeting are so much more effective because you're coming from an aligned space, right? Aligned intention, aligned energy. Then in the middle of the hour, you create something that anchors what's happening so that people get present again and connect their hearts and spirits to what's... And you don't have to use that language because corporate bank, they won't like hearts and spirits. But the idea of getting present, right? Or government, let's say. And then at the end, you create something that anchors, assimilates for retention, right? And that and I'm so passionate about this because we assume we're present, like, but it's an assumption we can no longer make anymore because of the world that we're living in right now. And so that's why music and media can be so restorative to create greater results in our meeting, in our decisions, in our life decisions around how the planet will get out of this mess that we're in, right?
Yeah. No, yeah, it's really amazing. I mean, it really makes me think, and you've done so much, but of your work, I have listened a lot to Graceful Passages, and it's amazing to me, like, sometimes I get home and I'm just kind of so stressed and so, like, kind of out of it and agitated, and I just put this music on, and it's almost like a cleansing shower. It's like, ah. And the shift is really fast, I've noticed. And so it really is
Right.
powerful how it can just, get you
Well,
centering yourself again.
Well, in fact, I wandered so much in my last comment, I didn't actually answer your question, which is the idea of using music and media intentionally by starting to develop, cultivate an ability to recognize, am I being supported right now in my sense of alignment with what I care about, or am I being, um, am I going to my lowest common denominator of myself, right? And when you said like we need to tune out, and I need to just tune out and rest my mind and my heart, my spirit, and just veg, right? But at least I've started to realize that if I veg with content that is not supporting my highest self, I can still veg with a great like Downton Abbey. I'm just adore Downton Abbey. It's
Yeah,
like
me
one of my
too.
it's so cool, and they're great. The Matrix, and they're great. So many great pieces of work that will really inspire and awaken you. So it's just that's the thing I'm asking for you to develop a standard for yourself on do you deserve to create a space that exalts and supports and awakens rather than numbs, deadens, and destroys. That's really all I'm asking.
Yeah, that's great. I want to do a future Shanti Pox post on, some of these. I'm a huge lover of spy shows, James Bond. I love all things spy related. But I've
Uh-huh.
noticed on some of the newer spy related television shows that the character development occurs, like the young woman protagonist develops and her character develops as she's willing to shoot a gun and as she's willing to kill people without feeling emotion. And that's like her developing as a person. And I always want to say that's not what we want to encourage. That's not like personal development. In fact, it should be going in the opposite direction, And it's like kind of encourages this, like, this is how you develop as a person, being willing to kill someone without feeling any emotion.
Well, I go to the dream interpretation realm when I start talking about what you're talking about because I don't think it's the wrong thing. I think it's symbolically correct, which is women right now are in this empowering place in the culture right
That's
now,
true.
right? And so it's about finding the boundary to kill that which needs to die.
That's true. The bad guy.
The bad guy is within. The bad guy is so to have a hard line, a boundary, and to kill that which needs to die is actually women are more capable of doing that right now than men because men only do it in a towards the obvious destructive ways. Women are saying, okay, let's get cut, let's be a samurai and get to the matter of what's most important here and shoot to kill any adversary to wholeness, peace, connection, a world that works. And frankly, that grabbing the gun archetypally
Yeah,
is absolutely correct,
it's
right?
true.
It's just misdirected.
Right.
And that's why I want to say, yeah, let's do this where it really matters in the way that it works,
Right,
right?
right. Yeah. No, that's great. That's a great metaphor, the way you just described it.